In 1971, I was born in South Korea. In 1976, I came to the United States. I was 5 years old. We moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I grew up American. You know, I always questioned God because I didn't really have proof, you know, that He existed. You know what I mean? But I was, you know, into my own thing, just trying to have as much fun as I can. So I always struggle with God and my religion, just because I didn't have a lot of proof, you know. But in 2001, my mom passed away, my father passed away at the same time. It was a hard time for me. I just lost total faith in God. I was angry, I was bitter, I didn't know what to do, you know. Yeah, when my parents passed away, I was very angry. Not to mention angry, I had a lot of guilt on me because, you know, until they passed away, I felt like I could have done more. But, you know, when they were living, I didn't do enough because I was so caught up in my life, you know, trying to do what I had to do. But right after they passed, I started having health problems. I started having TIAs, what's called transexema attacks, where they're like small strokes. And I didn't know this till later, but like my whole family has a history of stroke. My mom passed away from a stroke. My dad passed away from a stroke. And then when I was in my 30s, I started having a stroke, little small strokes. And the doctor kept telling me I was going to have a stroke sooner or later. A transexema attack is a precursor to a stroke. So I started kind of getting depressed because I thought I was going to have a stroke and die. May 31st, 2009, I had my own stroke. I went to work. I put in like 8 hours overtime. And then I went to go play poker. And when I was playing poker, I had my stroke. I tried to stand up and take a step, and I almost fell over, and the waitress caught me. And the owner was sitting next to me playing poker. He called 911 for me. I had an appointment with my neurologist the following week, and I asked him how close I came to die. He said I came this close to dying. I can't believe I was 30 years old, or 30-something years old, and I was having health problems. I was shocked. I couldn't believe what was happening. I couldn't do anything for myself. I mean, when I had my stroke, I could have got depressed. I could have, you know, spiraled down with not wanting to live, you know. That's how close it was. But the funny thing was, the irony in that was, because of the stroke, that's where I met God again, you know. Because when you're injured and you have nothing to do, you have the only thing you have is time to think about your life and think about things. And I felt like, you know, I got reacquainted with God because of my stroke, you know. I mean, I lost the use of half my body. I can't run anymore. I can't play sports, you know. I'm thankful I live, you know, because I get a second chance at life. And I moved out of the nursing home at 2012. So I was living on my own in an apartment in Tallahassee. And then in 2013, my neighbor moved in. And her dad was a pastor. And he lived in Virginia, and he came all the way down from Virginia to help his daughter move in next door to me. And when he came to move her in, he helped her move in, so some of her stuff. And he came out and he was getting ready to leave. And he came up to me and said, Charlie, can I pray for you? I said, what? You want to pray for me? So I was just sitting outside in a wheelchair, you know, just hanging out. And I said, oh yeah, you want to pray for me? I said, yeah, sure you can pray for me. And he came in and came to my apartment. He prayed for me. And then on his way out, you know what he did for me? He took out my trash. Complete stranger, I didn't know. You know? I was like, who does this? I felt like, you know, when he came to pray for me and did that for me, it was like a message from God, you know. So I started going to church with my neighbor, you know. And in 2013, I went to church with her, and I can't remember what the message was about. But all the anger and bitterness I had with God about my parents passing, I was at church and I was listening to the message. I don't remember what the message was. I remember being at the church, and finally the burden of my anger and my bitterness had lifted out of my heart. And I was just at church and I just started crying. So that was like, you know, that day I was happy about that day because that guilt and anger I had in my heart, I had held for 12 years. when I was a kid, my mom always wanted me to become a pastor, but I always, you know, I don't like people telling me what to do. I was always, you know, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna become a pastor. No, it's crazy. But you know, when 2012, when that burden had lifted out of my heart, I was like, you know what? I need to do some God's work. When that burden had lifted, it was easy. I should, you know, He gave me a second chance in life. I need to do something. I can tell someone about how God saved me. Maybe, you know, a sinner like me, He could save you too, you know. So get to work. Sam, get to work.